The day after Watanagashi. Now it just feels weird now after that twist has been revealed, doesn't it? Because now it's like, we know what's going on, but they don't know what's going on. It's that horrible situation where you're just like, dude, wait, she's the one behind it, and you're just like, but they're just like, they don't have a clue. Day after Watanagashi Ooishi showed up at our school. It's not uncommon for Ooishi to show up here today. And now you just like look back at all the other arcs with this context. This happens in every single arc. Takano, doing all that shit behind the scenes. Just brings a whole new level, a layer to the plot here. There's an uncommon for Ooishi to show up here today. Interestingly, he's always asked to see the most key person in that world. Yes, for Keiichi in the world where he gets sick. Yes, for Ren in the world where she gets sick. So it's like you got all that. That's, something that does happen. But really, it's like the shit going on in the background that's the main course here, I mean, Keiichi snapping is bad, Ren snapping is bad, and Shion snapping was bad. Because that leads to a lot of chaos as well. But ultimately, the ultimate chaos is, right under their noses and they don't see it. In this world, he asked for me. I guess it makes sense. Did Tomitake really die? Yeah, the way he went was very strange too. Like he was on drugs and hallucinating. He clawed out his own throat until he died. You know what? Now that things have settled down slightly after that ridiculous plot twist. But it's not ridiculous, is it? Really? Is that the right wording to go with there? That, big plot twist. That's our word of the day here. Try to find a word that kind of fits. I was looking for witch, but witch isn't here. How about doom, maybe? No, not even doom, so how about apocalypse then? Oh, it's not even apocalypse, really? None of these words are in here. Or if they are, they're not on the English side. Oh, what could be a word? What could be a word? No, if I think I can find that word at least. I think it's in here. I mean, it's closest we'll have to a fitting word for or the events of this shit here. Murder. Satsujin. Murderer. Higurashi. That is what Takano is. I mean, technically they didn't kill him, he killed himself, but, them injecting that perfectly, they pretty much were, didn't have the intention of killing him, so technically they did kill him, so they technically would be murderers. But yeah, that's the word for the day, I guess, here. I couldn't prevent it. There's nothing I can do now. Oh, did I read that bit?
Yeah, the way he went was pretty strange too, like he was on drugs and hallucinating. Glowed out his own front until he died.
I knew this was going to happen. But if you'd known it would be Takano to be the one to do it, then you would have had, to be fair, even if she knew Takano was the one behind all this, how would she be able to convince everyone else that Takano has this evil kind of master plan? I'm sure Takano is dead too. But, at the same time, it's like, how high up does it go? How far does this rabbit hole of chaos, destruction, death, and whatever the shit they're freaking, why? Just the why, Why did they do that? And Takano.
I have bad news about her, too. She was found and burned to death in the mountains over in Gifu Prefecture. Based on the condition of the body, she was choked to death before her body was burned. It's a tragic story no matter how you look at it.
Well, that's Higurashi in a nutshell. It's a tragic story no matter how you look at it. I know what you're thinking. You think I know something about what happened to them. If only you actually knew, Rika. You know how this events play out every time, but you don't know who is behind it. And that is ultimately what keeps leading to her death, because she doesn't see it coming, obviously.
Heavens no. I can only have one question. I only have one question. Who would talk about such a disturbing plan at the festival while anyone could hear?
You think I'm involved in this murder?
Well, I wouldn't suspect you, but I don't. If you were responsible in some way, you wouldn't have given me the hints you did. At the very least, I'm sure you're not involved with the people who killed them.
I mean, it'd be a hell of a plot twist if Rika was somehow involved in this, but it would make absolutely no sense whatsoever. I'm glad you're not suspicious of me. She threw a 10-yen coin into the offertory box and shook the bell in prayer.
Please let us solve the mystery of Mizawa this year.
Are you trying to get me involved in your investigation?
I was just talking to Oyashiro-sama.
She is well aware that people call me the reincarnation of Oyashiro-sama. That must have been his attempt at a joke. I'd like to see the curse disappear forever too.
Oh, that means we both want the same thing.
I made a prediction about where you might find Tomitake's body. Didn't you have a police cruiser nearby?
Yeah, I listened to your prediction and had a cruiser patrol the area. The place where the concrete and gravel road meets. It's on the very border of the village. It gets very dark there at night. Although it always seems like if something bad were to happen, it could happen there.
But it happened at the clinic, and that's why they didn't catch them, because it didn't actually take place there. And what was Tomitake even going there for? He kept saying, oh yeah, he left something there, something. I mean, what did he have to go there for? Or was it not him, it was Takano saying, oh, we gotta go to the clinic, I need to pick up something, to lull him into a false sense of security, then wham! So where did you find Tomitake's body?
Found him dead by the rice fields near Okima.
That's not where his body's usually found. Yeah, Rika, you didn't change fate necessarily because he still died, and the behind the curtain of all of it is still, in action, and you don't even know about that at all. But you slightly, ever so slightly, altered the path of that fate. If he was fated to hallucinate and die, he would die in exactly the same spot whether the cruiser was there or not. Although, maybe this change in direction of it might lead to, pondering more on it. It's like, wait, that doesn't add up, that's different. Think, and maybe you might learn the truth. Just because the cruiser was placed there, Tomitake's body was found in a totally different spot. In other words, the existence of the police cruiser disrupted that fate.
Anyway, there's something else I found very interesting. I told the officers in the police cruiser to check every vehicle that passed by. As it turns out, one of the cars that headed towards Auckland after the festival was Takano's.
Oh, really? Takano likes to live on the edge. He likes to live dangerously. She has made a few slip-ups there. I mean, she always seems to make the slip-up with the body. It's like, oh no, just leave it as it is. Or maybe she doesn't. Maybe it just happens occasionally. But she also slipped up in that she, got checked by one of the cars. Takano lives in Okima. It wouldn't be strange for her to head back home after the festival. And not only was she headed, in her car, but Tomitake wasn't there with her. I mean, he was, but he was in the boot of the car, So, yeah, that's gonna be something, isn't it?
However, she was the only one inside the car. Tomitake wasn't with her.
Did I read the previous line? It would be strange for her to head back home after the festival. Tomitake always comes in with his own bike.
Then she could have loaded his bike in the trunk and given him a ride. But he was not with her. However, his body was found among the rice fields near Okima, past where the police cruiser was patrolling in Ibiza.
What are you saying?
There's no way he could have biked through the dark woods to avoid the police cruiser. He somehow took the road without being noticed by us. Pretty sad. Can you tell me what you know about the relationship between Tomitake and Takano?
No, you gotta give it to Ooishi there. I mean, he is a detective after all. Works for the police, so, he's a bit more knowledgeable, and able to pick up on these little details. He obviously hasn't figured it all out, obviously, but he's at least observant in that does not make sense. That does not add up. They're dating, that's all I know.
I find it hard to believe that Takano would drive back home alone in the dark without her boyfriend. What if she had Tomitake in her trunk and she was planning to dump his body in the woods? But because the cruiser was in that area, she had no choice but to pass by and dump him on the side of the road.
Both Tomitake and Takano were sent here from Tokyo. I have no idea what their real identities are. I can say that Takano had no reason to kill Tomitake. That's because you don't know their reasoning. However, I've never considered that possibility before in my life. So, after hundreds of years of repeating world upon world, only now is Rika being like, you know what, I've never really thought about that. Takano killing Tomitake, but why? I can't think of any reason. Nothing comes to mind, and it's hard to imagine Takano was concerned to the point she had to kill him. In fact, it was more plausible to think she was enraged from the love-struck Tomitake acted cold towards her and she strangled his neck.
I never really thought they suited each other. I don't mean to insult Tomitake, but I thought Dr. Sun was way too smart for him. Have you heard of any rumors that she was trying to use him for anything?
None, but I can ask around. I'll let you know if I find out something.
Thank you very much. I'm just glad that the reincarnation of Oyashiro-sama is on my side.
But even the reincarnation of Oyashiro-sama couldn't solve this mystery for over 100 years. You know, Hanyu can move around a lot. You know, without being detected. Why doesn't Hanyu just follow after them and find out the truth? But no. But you said Takano was killed too. How can she be the culprit?
Well, it's because you linked me the information. I mean, the prophecy. Without that, I'm sure I wouldn't have just believed that. I would have just believed that Takano and Tomitake were the victims of the 5th year's curse of Oyashiro-sama. I feel like it's different this time. Maybe as though this is someone trying to make the curse of Oyashiro-sama happen.
So you really think that Takano-san is the culprit? Basically, this is what Ooishi is trying to say. They're not both victims. The culprit is also pretending to be a victim. This is really hard for me to believe. I can't think of any reason why Takano would do something like this. Ooishi only feels the way he does because he doesn't know her as well as I do. It's kind of ironic she says that because she doesn't really know her quite as well as you think she does. And Ooishi, while not necessarily knowing Takano much at all, is kind of right on the money if he is actually suspecting her. For another thing, how can he explain that Takano's body was found? Didn't the police in Gifu Prefecture identify the body?
For a charred corpse, the easiest way to identify them is by their dental records. Though, according to the old man in forensics, they're still not 100% sure. Besides, there's a contradiction with the estimated time of death. Just doesn't make sense.
What do you mean?
Well, the test results show that she was dead on the night before the festival. Apparently, they inspected the contents of her stomach and such. But at the time of testing, they already had information about Takano. They knew that she was at the festival that night and realized that the test results didn't match up. So they just dumped the results and decided to take the dental records alone. These things do happen every once in a while. However, if Takano really is the culprit, this body might belong to someone else.
Is it possible to do something like that?
When a body is burnt, dental records are the only way to identify it. This might sound too much like a mystery novel, but what if, for example, someone faked me Takano's dental records? If they were skillfully forged, we could have the wrong ID. Anyway, the Gifu Police Department has made up their mind that the body belongs to Takano. In police departments, we sometimes have issues with false test results. That's how most false charges are made. Feels to me like it's one of those times.
So you think Takano's alive?
Since last night, both me, Takano, and the car have gone missing. If that body found in Gifu isn't Takano, this is going to be very interesting indeed.
Very interesting. It's like, this whole time we've been in the dark about the plot. I mean, I haven't, because I've read the novels before. How well did I do at, not revealing any, plot details throughout all these arcs? Like, all those scenes with Takano, and I don't think did I ever at any point make, the way I voiced Takano or rambled on about Takano, did I ever make it seem like, yeah, Takano is clearly one behind it? Other than, her being a suspicious character to begin with. Did I at least make it not seem quite as obvious? You had already heard about the deaths of Tomitake and Takano. It seemed like both the clinic and the office in Tokyo had flown into a panic over it. It's funny how they make such a big fuss about their own people when they don't care about what happens to other people's lives, if it would get in the way of their research. You know what? Though, it's like, think about it. A lot of this arc was, all about saving Satoko from her abusive uncle, changing the course of fate, But now, it's gone into an entirely different direction, where now we see behind the curtain and see that Takano and the Mountain Dogs have some doomsday plan, which starts out by killing off Tomitake. So it's like a big shift in tone. We were in the dark about all this up till now, and now we know. I mean, like I said, I already knew, but some of you viewers maybe didn't. Takano's subordinate, Ogi, was in the room. Wait, isn't that son of a bitch that's working with Takano? Ogi, yep, is the leader of the Mountain Dogs. I came here to make sure he's still willing to protect me. Oh, Irie. If only you knew. Did I read something such a big fuss? Yeah, I've read all that. Based on past experience, they tend to lose interest and protect me after Takano dies. Oh wait, no, this is Rika. Oh, Rika, if only you knew. That son of a bitch. Okanagi, Takano's dead, but am I still safe? Don't worry, Rika-san. We'll still keep up the tight security around you. You don't have to call the police. I guess as a part of that tight security, they must have been listening to my conversation with Ooishi. Ooishi told me something. Is it true that Takano isn't really dead? That can't be true. The Gifu Police Department made an official announcement that Ooishi is retiring this year, isn't he? Sometimes he makes up stories because he's desperate to solve the case for Oyashiro-sama. You shouldn't pay attention to anything he says. Well, he's not wrong. Here is Ooishi's last chance. As he's so desperate, he's developed the bad habit of listening to every rumor he hears. What's your opinion about this, Oganogi? Right now, they're still investigating, so I can't say anything. Knowing the relationship between those two, I think it's clear that this was done by someone within the organization. Glanced over at his ear as I listened to Oganogi speak. He's trying to plant the seeds. Seemed that whoever he was talking to over the phone was accusing him of killing them. Irie was frantically trying to prove his innocence. Soon enough, he hung up the phone. Irie looked upset that he was under suspicion after working so hard for the organization. Oh, Rika-chan. I'm sorry for making you wait. Seems like you're in big trouble. Just as you heard, it sounds like there's some big conspiracy behind their deaths. People in Tokyo think that I'm the one who's pulling the strings. Good grief, I have a lot of questions as to how they figured that out. I rarely ever saw Irie get so emotional. He must be feeling as though all his efforts is being repaid with injustice. Whether it's the fact that Irie was trying to fight against the budget cuts and downsizing of his research team. Tokyo's thinking that could be his motive for killing them. That's a stupid motive, though, because it accomplishes nothing. In any case, everyone in the organization is suspicious. I understand how scared you must feel. The people who attacked Takano-san and Tomitake could be after you, too. The people in Tokyo are also concerned about that. We got the order to tighten your security. Don't worry. I'm very relieved to hear that. This was the first time the Mountain Dogs has ever tightened up my security. But it's just a shame that they're in on it. They usually become so busy keeping tabs on Irie after Tomitake and Takano's deaths that they end up ignoring me. Even though they're dead, I'm still in a pretty favorable situation. Oh, if only you knew, Rika. If only you knew. Do you have any idea who killed them? People in Tokyo are investigating that now. Based on the situation, it's clear that this was done by someone within the organization. Yes, I'm their prime suspect. You're the only one who could kill Tomitake like that. But that's not true. The people in Tokyo are discussing the possible use of H173. That drug was destroyed when the research was cancelled. I wonder if it was Oganogi that said that. What a name, Oganogi. What a name. It's impossible. Yeah, it is, Oganogi. However, they have no choice but to suspect you in this case. Mr. Tomitake even took a vaccine before he came here. It was faked, man! But he still got infected.
Must just be an extremely unlikely coincidence. Anyway, it's just impossible.
Irie is usually a very calm person. But once the people in Tokyo start suspecting him, he often loses his mind. You think Takano might be the culprit? She's someone within the organization.
Takano-san? No way.
But as he spoke, Irie also started to realize that everything could be explained if Takano was the culprit. But I don't know how to persuade him that it's the truth. More than anything, people want to hear a motive. Not who did something, but why. I mean, I guess that kind of fits here. We know that Takano is behind this, but why? It's like I won't spoil necessarily anything, but there have been like a few breadcrumbs in the tips here and there, you know, throughout. I think in some other arcs as well as this arc, been a few little breadcrumbs. Be like, oh yeah, this kind of. It's just like, oh yeah, that's kind of maybe.
But yeah, we don't know the motive currently.
No, and that probably isn't as important as it sounds. After all, you never know the motive unless the suspect talks. Guessing about the motive is just a waste of time. In other words, it's stupid to assume that Takano isn't the culprit just because they don't know what her motive is.
Rika-san, you can't say anything like that without any proof. She was very nice to you. How can you suspect her after that?
Upon hearing me be ungrateful towards his boss, Ogunagi flashed me an unpleasant smile. It's true that Takano was very nice to me. It might be disrespectful of me to suspect her. However, I still don't trust her completely yet. I mean, she was always kind of a suspicious person with her obsession with the, past of Hinamizawa back when it was called Onigafuchi, the demons, the curse of Oyashiro-sama. She seemed a bit too enthusiastic about it. But at the same time, it just like kind of shrug off and be like, she's just kind of eccentric a little bit. So what? It's like she has a morbid curiosity. But no, it isn't just that. She's, behind some shit here. Perhaps I've developed the same bad habit as Ooishi. I believe in every crazy theory I hear just because I'm desperate to escape my fate. Well, it's funny, Rika, because that crazy theory is the true theory.
In any case, something bad is going on around here. We all need to be careful. Don't worry, we received an order to tighten up the security too.
Unfortunately, they're the ones behind it. Irie smiled bitterly. For him, their protection wouldn't be too different from stalking. Stalking their prey.
Rika-san, make sure that you don't give up too much information to the police. I think you understand, but you could create a problem if you talk to them about our secrets.
Yeah, they don't want this plan to go to waste now. He's implying that he'd have to kill anyone I talk to. This isn't the first time they've warned me about this. It's just, what if Takano really is the culprit? If she is, then Ogunagi is almost certainly involved too. Then it makes sense that he wouldn't want me to suspect Takano. But that would be horrifying. Yes, indeed, and it's true. If Takano was my enemy, then the mountain dogs were too. This whole clinic is a lion's den. Irie is just a researcher, so he probably wouldn't know what's really going on. The more I thought about it, the more confused I got. Why would Takano do something like this? I thought I'd just convinced myself that the motive shouldn't even matter, and I can't stop thinking about it. Is Takano really behind it all? Am I going as crazy as Ooishi just because of how badly I want to solve this mystery? Perhaps the mountain dogs are more like wolves looking after a flock of sheep. I have lived for over 100 years, and if I once found out who killed me, and I stayed close to the area institute so they'd protect me, it's ironically what leads to your death. But, she just never sees it coming in all the yellow wolves. It also makes you, it's just like, it just makes me think of that time she said, like, oh yeah, in a past life, she lived a little longer, a couple of days, by hiding out in the woods, but it was terrible and she ultimately ended up dead anyway. But she still doesn't know who the culprit is. She never found out. What if that was my big mistake? Well, I'm sure that Irie has no bad intentions. Many lives I got to see just how genuine his feelings are. I can trust him. Funny enough, he's the only one you can trust at that clinic, it seems. However, he's not really reliable. I mean, other than Takano, who else works there? You know, you got the mountain dogs. But does he have any other staff that's, unaffiliated with them? Oganagi glanced over at me. He smiled and told me not to worry, but I noticed an evil glint in his eyes. It's possible that I have Inamizawa syndrome and that was just an hallucination. Either that, or Oganagi is just really bad at not looking shady as fuck. I don't understand anything. I don't even know who my enemies are anymore. There's no point in thinking about this any longer. I have to only trust who I know I can trust for sure. There are only a few of those people though. Irie, Ooishi, and my friends. If Oganagi is on Takano's side, he will be watching me very closely. If I started accusing Takano of anything, who knows what they do to me. When this world first began, I thought I had no time left. But that wasn't true. The number of things that happened in just 2 weeks was immense. I probably only have a few more days left until the day of my death. What can I do? How can I change this? Am I supposed to just take Hanyu's advice and resign this time?